What is up, guys? I'm doing a bunch of videos, so I might as well make a video of my only auction win I've ever had. And this comes straight to you from G10, and I apologize, it's been a while getting the videos out. It's been a pretty rough schedule around here and a lot of travel, so hopefully I can stay put now and dedicate some time to some hobbies here. But I wanted to take the time to show you guys this beauty here. And I just did a video on knife shows in general, which will tell you the story about how this knife and basically how the sister knife, Edison had two knives that he was auctioning off for G10, and just kind of the fun story that that occurred around the purchase of that knife. But basically, I purchased this knife, which was on the table, and the bidding was at the same time. So when the $9,700 bid was put in for the Damascus knife and the other gentleman dropped out, they allowed this knife to continue at bid, and I had held the high bid for a little bit, which is fine. Again, I don't mind supporting the makers, especially the ones that I want to collect in the long term. But a buddy of mine, his name was Craig, who I didn't know at the time. He was the gentleman I was speaking with. He came in after that one had closed with like a minute left, and we went back and forth a little bit on this one, and it didn't get all crazy out of hand like the other one, but it was fun nonetheless, and I was able to pick up what I thought was kind of the mechanically special of the two, where the other one was visually special with the Damascus, but this one was mechanically special. But I just want to point out one thing. Edison has put a shark logo on this. This is my other Ryu here from TKI, so you can see it doesn't have that logo there, but the interior and the knives are pretty much the same, with the same oiling tool there. So yeah, let's take a look. So Edison had one of the most crowded tables I have seen, and I was at the end of a lot of auctions. And I think that has a lot to do with where he's at as a maker right now. Obviously, I wouldn't say he's a new maker, but he's certainly fairly new over the last couple years, as far as his stuff is getting extremely popular, and he's becoming an extremely well-known maker. And I've never seen anything quite like it, where I've seen, you know, makers get picked up, and a lot of high-end collectors, you know, will collect that particular maker, driving their secondary prices up. But as far as the speed in which that's done, I'm just absolutely amazed on how Sharknivco and how Edison has really kind of stepped their game up and built these knives that are being kind of accepted as kind of some of the best knives that are out there. So here's a knife that I purchased this year, but this knife was again purchased at open bid at the Tactical Knife Invitational, and I believe that was this year. I'm not sure, but I do think that that was TKI 2018. And Edison did a fantastic job on this knife, and when I got it, I knew right away that the Ryu is a knife that I wanted to pursue, purchase, and make sure that I had at least two of them, if not three or four, in my collection. After all, I did need this one, which is really too complex and too beautiful to use, and you can see the blade inside. You can't see any hardware besides the pivot, and I just think the artistic creativity on this knife was amazing. So I didn't want to mess it up by putting it in my pocket. So when I had the opportunity to purchase this one, I knew that this was a knife that would hold up extremely, extremely well in my pocket. You can see that Edison has tried to do a new blade shape, or I wouldn't say he's tried, he's done a new blade shape, and he calls it the Tana. So obviously it's inspired by the Japanese katana, and it kind of has an upsweep at the end there. And you can see, I just think these two in frame are just, it's just artwork, just beautiful, beautiful, amazing lines, and mechanically speaking, these things are absolutely amazing. You can see the tolerances here. And we'll put that one away now. So let's talk about this one. So why did I go after this one, and is it just a consolation prize to the $9,700 knife? I would say absolutely not. I remember having a conversation with my buddy about the two knives, and while I think the Timascus one is more of a traditional open bid auction, I felt that this one was the better of the two knives from a mechanical and a innovative, artistically innovative standpoint. And what I mean by that is, I actually saw him making this on Instagram, and I was blown away. This knife does not have a natural bolster, so this might be one piece, and he just kind of came up with the design in his mind to mix black and white. We have the inverse here. We have micarta here, and carbon fiber here and here, and he's just basically made one beautiful scale out of that. And as I said in my last video, a lot of people will be like, oh, I can't feel anything. This knife maker knows what he's doing. Well, first of all, we know Edison knows what he's doing. He's building some of the most technically difficult knives out there, but you truly cannot feel this. And I don't know if it's just the nature of the materials. I don't know if he did a process where he literally bonded these two materials together, but even with a nail, you cannot detect any sensation that these are two pieces that are just next to each other. It feels like one solid piece. And that might have something to do with these materials being very similar in feel and tactility there, because usually when people say that, well, I can't feel anything, you can feel a transition. Usually you're going from zirconium, from a titanium or a mokutai or something like that, and you can pick up a little bit of a difference in the way the material feels, and then you just run your fingernail across it and you can kind of feel something there on most knives. And this one, not at all. You can't feel that at all. I would have preferred carbo quartz. I like the non-linear pattern of carbo quartz, a little bit more chaotic, which is the way I like the knives, which is why I like mokutai and Timascus and things like that. But as far as this knife goes, I think Edison had thought it out, and he used this beautiful carbon fiber here, which normally I'm not a fan of, but I think it works on this knife. You can see how he's basically inlaid the micarta into the carbon fiber. So you can see the carbon fiber actually extends to the whole frame. And the back matches the front. And we have the micarta backspacer. You can also notice that he has kept up with the amazing tolerances. I mean, you cannot see light. Barely any light can be picked up back there. I don't know how he does it. It's absolutely amazing. And not only that, I don't know how he does it where it doesn't touch the frame. He's got such nice tolerances here, and it holds the blade so well that when you open and close it with a little bit of shake, it's not bouncing off the frame, which a lot of knives will do with even much less tolerances. Action, amazing. This has a little bit of a harder detent than the Ryu for sure, but still amazing. Not as drop free as the Ryu. Like, it's not going to guillotine your finger off, but obviously it just drops free completely. But there is a tiny bit of resistance there. I don't know if that will break in the future, but if not, it doesn't matter. This knife is usable right now. It is perfect. And I have carried this so far, and it is an amazing knife. Now, the only negative I can say about this knife, just like the other Ryu, is the pocket clip. They're not fantastic. They're just very, very wimpy for such a big, strong knife. They look beautiful, no doubt. It's an amazing looking knife, and the Ryu as well. Just the pocket clip blends in perfectly, but as far as functionality goes, it's, you know, when you put it in your pocket, it's just barely hanging on there. You can check out the grinds. Absolutely amazing. And a little added touch, he's crowned the blade, so this is the first one I've ever seen him do that, which you can see this does not even look like a gap, but it looks like a design element as far as the space between the frame and the blade, and then with the crowning there, it really, really sets this knife off. And no matter what angle you look at this knife, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. So guys, that was the open auction, and for those of you who are curious, it went for right around $3,500. So again, it was a little bit more expensive than I expected it to be, but I'm happy to support Edison. I do hope that I pick up a few more of his knives in the future. And as far as usability, I'd give it a 10 out of 10, with the exception of, you know, it's a functional pocket clip, but not a great pocket clip. And as far as aesthetics, I give it a 10 out of 10. So this is, you know, obviously I bid on it and want it, so I'm biased towards it, but I think this is one of the most perfect models, one of the most perfect knives, one of the most fun knives out there. And I'm very excited to have it as part of my collection. And I hope to pick up a dressier version of this, so this one can resume pocket duty and really be, I wouldn't say a user, but something I can enjoy on a daily basis, and keeping it in my pocket and not having to worry about scuffing it up. Not that it would, because it's you know, this material is just designed for that, but you know, I don't want to worry about using the blade or anything like that, which you're not really supposed to, but I do. Those things cross my mind, and I would love a dress version so I don't have to worry about that. All right, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks.